Well, just casually snuck into Pete Thamel's last story about the college football playoff and where it may be going is the fact that, oh, by the way, the Big Ten and the SEC seem to have some very strong support internally about breaking away from the NCAA. Whew. We'll digest that one here in this video. Welcome in. I am John Kurtz here on this channel. We talk college football and conference realignment all day, every day on this channel, plus some college hoops. Make sure that you are subscribed if you are not. Live shows Wednesdays and Sundays. They are a blast. We get a bunch of people in from all corners of the college football world. It is a really good time. Make sure that you are there if you care about college sports at all. And please like the video if you could. Helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And leave a comment in the comment section of the video. What do you think about all this? Would it be better if the SEC and the Big Ten did break away? And is that what they should do? Let me know. Fill up those comments. Even if you totally disagree with what I'm saying here, hit me up there. And John-Kurtz-4 on Venmo if you want to support the channel that way. Okay. So there's a big couple articles that came out here within the last 24 hours, I guess, depending on when it is that you're listening to this, watching this. But in the middle of the week this week, we found out that the prevailing model, or at least the one that seems to have the most push right now behind it, the most support behind it, is a playoff model that would be a 14-team playoff model starting in 2026. And it would involve 3 automatic bids for the SEC and Big Ten, 2 automatic bids for the ACC and Big 12, 1 automatic bid for the group of 5, and then 3 at-large spots with Notre Dame getting in if they are in the top 14 of the college football playoff rankings, which seems to be a pretty good compromise across the board. I thought that was great for the Big 12 and ACC to only be 1 auto bid behind the Big 10 and the SEC. And it also compromises by helping out Notre Dame. Hey, if you're in the top 14, you can be in, keeping them from really having to join a conference, which is what a lot of people felt like the ultimate goal of everybody might be involved here. So with that being the groundwork, Pete Thamel has an article where he just sneaks this blurb in about breaking away from the NCAA in the midst of a discussion about how exactly all of this would break down, if this is going to be a model that sticks. So I'm going to start reading to you that so you get the full context of that, and then we'll break down this statement about what may be happening with the SEC and the Big Ten. So Thamel says there has not been significant modeling done yet by Hancock. That would be Bill Hancock, executive director of the playoff. There has not been significant modeling done yet by Hancock and college football playoff officials as to how those models would have unfolded in the playoff era. So that would be models of the 3-3-2-2-1 system. They want to see how that would have looked. If things change from the automatic qualifying distribution that's been most discussed, it may be because of what modeling would show the outcomes could look like in the upcoming years. Any exercise is difficult, however, because no one knows what a 16-team SEC and 18-team Big Ten are going to look like at the end of the season. And that is fair. Like, you can do all the modeling that you want in reverse order, like going back the last 10 years and seeing what the 3-3-2-2-1 would have produced. But you don't know exactly how it's going to look with the Big Ten and the SEC right now having more teams. You don't know what exactly that is going to be like and how that will affect things. By adding strong programs and weakening other leagues, it's difficult to project what upcoming years will look like in the SEC and Big Ten. The potential of SEC and Big Ten teams being displaced from the top 14 is real and will be examined more in the upcoming weeks. He also added in there, as they have 34 teams and a majority of the title contending programs, it's like they can beat up on each other, right? You're going to have so many difficult games week in, week out. Like, go look at Michigan's schedule next year. The argument there would be, hey, I mean, if they pick up like 3 losses and they're getting beat up within the own conference and that's knocking people out, and we're upset about the Big 12 or the ACC getting somebody up above them. I mean, those are the kinds of things that I'm sure they will look over pretty vociferously, especially for the Big 10 and the SEC's sake. Thamel says, how would that work? Essentially, a team ranked number 13 or 14, for example, could end up getting bumped by the group of 5 winner or second place ACC or Big 12 team in a year when the league has a runaway winner and not a clear second choice. There is also the possibility, though, that the Big Ten and SEC's 4th best teams and potentially 5th would find a landing spot in the playoff through one of the 3 at-large spots. And that would really be my pushback and argument on that. Like, they will be fine. I think those leagues will be just fine because you're still going to have a committee that is going to have normal biases towards bigger brands. We've seen it time and again in the college football playoff. There will always be biases towards the bigger brands and the bigger schools there. So I don't think they would have much to worry about. Like, they'd get taken care of one way or the other. The 2 auto bids for the Big 12 and the ACC are not going to affect that very much. Now, here is the meat of what I want to talk about. This paragraph says the modeling is tricky as college sports remain a moving target. The ESPN deal would run through the 2031 season, and it's naive to think the conference map will look the same as it does today. Extremely naive. I would bet my life that the conference map does not look like it does today by the time we get to 2031. One high-ranking official involved in the discussions told ESPN that the presidents and chancellors in both the SEC and Big Ten are having conversations about whether to continue their NCAA membership. It's a move that would impact and could possibly derail the TV agreement. Quote, those conversations are happening, the source said, adding some feel, quote, pretty strongly about pulling away. I'd say very strongly. Now, I am not surprised that there is internal support that would be very strong in favor of breaking from the NCAA. I mean, long has the NCAA been considered kind of a joke, and now they are effectively neutered in so many different ways, losing power by the day, the latest of which coming just last week with the Tennessee and Virginia ruling where they were sparring with them over NIL, and now the NCAA can't legally enforce their NIL cases. There was a federal ruling on that. So like anywhere, I mean, NIL, you can just go pay the players straight up out in broad daylight. No repercussions, no guardrails, no nothing on that as the NCAA continues to lose power. It is becoming increasingly more of a, you're looking around like what office space, like what is it you say you do here, NCAA? I mean, we're coming very much to that point. So I get it. But thinking about, hey, that could derail the TV agreement if they leave the NCAA. That is where I start to get a bit nervous as a fan of a school in the Big 12 and somebody that wants to see the Big 12 thrive as much as possible. Like, oh boy, if they're going to pull away from the NCAA, does that mean they're just leaving to do their own thing? Do they tell other schools, hey, you need to break away from the NCAA too, so you can come be a part of this playoff that way? I mean, man, it already took years to get the 12-team playoff all the way through when it had been basically agreed upon by most, again, years before. We've had such a hard time getting anything accomplished. Is this now going to take precedent over that? Like we're trying to get the college football playoff thing ready from 26 to 31, and now you're going to have people pulling away from the NCAA, and that's going to blow it all up. I don't know. Little frustrating to me there, but I get it. And I understand why you'd have to be discussing that. And frankly, I think like every league should probably be discussing that right now because the NCAA just does not have much power over damn near anything anymore. Players are getting paid. They can't enforce any sort of NIL stipulations. They can transfer whenever they want. No penalty, no sitting out, no anything. A little bit more from Pete Thamel. ESPN reported earlier this month that Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti mentioned in a meeting about the potential of an expanded playoff. All college football politics are local, and Petitti's chair is easy to understand. He has an 18-team league with 4 new teams, USC, Oregon, Washington, and UCLA. 2 of those 4, Oregon and Washington, took part in the playoff as Pac-12 members. USC has won a national title on the field since the turn of the century. Petitti values the way the automatic qualification games could add meaning to the late regular season. Similar to the NFL, college football fans will need to be conditioned to the fact that a 3-loss team with a rigorous strength of schedule can still make the playoff after generations where perfection or near perfection was essentially required. So again, good info about the playoff, but it is still kind of hilarious to me. I mean, everything I read to you came straight in that order in the article. I mean, it just kind of breezes over like, hey, oh, by the way, they could just break free completely from the NCAA. Earth-shattering move in the historical context of college football. That's pretty wild. But anyway, that's the reality that we live in. That's the world that we live in. So let me know what you think in the comments. Would that be a good thing if it happens? How do you feel about the new playoff format? Let me know in the comments. Please like the video. And again, you can support the channel on Venmo at John-Kurtz-4. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.